When your hair is super oily, you're like, I cannot not wash my hair today. Like, I have to wash my hair, otherwise I'm gonna look like a complete grease ball. Hello you. In today's video, we are talking about Ayurvedic hair care, ancient Indian secrets to getting the most luscious, long, beautiful, thick hair. I am an Ayurvedic lifestyle and nutrition consultant, and some of you might have heard of the 3 doshas. In this little series, we are going into each of the doshas. In this video, we're talking about Kapha Dosha. What kind of hair oil do you need to use? What kind of hair routine should you have if this is your predominant dosha, so that it can be a little bit more tailored to you? However, what I would caveat in saying is that I cannot give you personally tailored advice, but if you're interested in booking a consultation, then hit the link below and we can talk more about you. So first off, let's talk about what actually Kapha Dosha is. Now, Kapha Dosha are made up of 2 elements, and these are earth and water. If you are predominantly Kapha Dosha, you'll be pretty stable, pretty grounded. You could sleep really, really well. A lot of people who are Kapha Dosha are known to sleep through like earthquakes and things, like ridiculous. And that's really because they're rooted to that earth energy and connected in with that sense of grounding. However, what that means is that sometimes when we look specifically at hair care, we can see certain things crop up, certain issues if there's too much of those elements of earth and water. So what happens when you've got a Kapha Dosha imbalance, and how can you spot that in your hair? Number 1, it's that greasy hair. So when you have really greasy hair, your hair looks really oily, but you might have washed it earlier that day, or you might have washed it the day before. You basically washed it really recently, but already it's looking greasy. I used to have this hair type, and it would drive me crazy because it would make me feel like I have to wash my hair every single day. There's no amount of dry shampoo that is going to make me feel better about this. It is a Kapha Dosha imbalance. This is a signal of it. It's that excess oil secretion that's happening at your scalp. A lot of us don't want. Some of us do. We like that kind of slick back look, and I think that's great, but there's only so many days you can slick your hair back until you're like, okay, I kind of need to get this oil out. The thing is, with that excess oil, sometimes there can be a smell as well. So you might kind of smell on your hair, and that again is going to want to make you wash your hair to remove that scent if it's not something that you feel is pleasant. Number 2 is an itchy scalp. So you might feel that your scalp is really, really itchy at the roots and really on the scalp, like you really just want to give your head a really big itch and scratch. Now this is again down to that excess oil production on the scalp. What that is doing is blocking the hair follicles, and so you're getting this itchiness, but it's also like a little bit sticky and this wetness to the skin and the flakiness of your scalp. It's not a really, really dry flakiness. You'd see that more in a Vata Dosha imbalance, but it's more of a wet, kind of sticky, really not very nice sensation to have on your scalp. The third thing to spot if you have a Kapha Dosha imbalance, if all those past 2 things are sounding like you, this one you also might resonate with, and that is hair fall. Now, a lot of us lose our hair, and it is completely normal when you brush your hair to have hair coming off in your hairbrush, or when you wash your hair, you might notice a little bit of hair coming out then in that process, but a lot of hair fall. And that is again down to this excess oil production. It always comes back to it because it's not strengthening your hair follicles. They're not strong. They're being weakened because of that. And so we really need to get to the root cause to make sure that we don't see that happening, so that you're able to grow long, lush hair, so that you don't have big chunks of hair falling out. So as I mentioned at the start, every single person is individual. In Ayurveda, we look at the person individually and holistically. So I can't give you individualized tailor experience unless you want to come and chat to me. Everyone gets a free call before doing an Ayurveda consultation. But what I can give you some tips on is how can you look after your hair when you are experiencing that. If your hair is really, really oily, I want you to try not to wash it so frequently. That is actually what we think is a solution to the greasy hair problem. It's actually going to create further dryness, further weakening of the hair. When we overwash our hair actually ends up getting drier and more brittle. And I know you think it probably would be the opposite because you're hydrating your hair, you're washing it, you're cleaning it. But too much water on the hair is going to just dry it out. So I want you to avoid washing it and just try your hardest to put it in a hairstyle that's not going to make it look as greasy. So if my hair's looking a little greasy, but I know I don't want to wash it, it's not wash hair day, I personally wash my hair once, maybe twice a week, then I will scrape it up into a low ponytail or a higher ponytail. It's actually pretty greasy today, so this is quite a good example of it. I'll tie it up so it's not as obvious that it's greasy. If my hair was down, it would be so much more obvious at how greasy it was. So do not overwash your hair. We're also going to use a coconut oil whenever you feel that intense itchiness. So an itchiness can be such a frustrating thing and you just want to scratch that itch, but that makes it worse. So what you want to do instead is find a coconut oil or an olive oil, rub it in your palm so it's a little bit warm. Don't heat it up in the microwave first. If you want the warm oil, do it slowly and softly in the palms of your hands and apply the coconut oil to those areas that feel really itchy and really inflamed and really irritable for you. And you can use olive oil or that coconut oil still through the rest of the hair. Hopefully that will alleviate some of that nasty itching sensation. And lastly, there are so many changes you can make to your diet and your lifestyle, and really that is what Ayurveda is about. It is about prevention as well as cure, but working on lifestyle intervention and then using natural herbs and remedies to get you back into a state of equilibrium, back into a state of balance. When we look at a Kapha Dosha imbalance and we're looking at the diet, generally when there is an imbalance, it means that too many foods and drink and kind of lifestyle have been in alignment with the qualities that already exist in Kapha Dosha people, which is the earth and the water. And so instead of eating lots and lots of carbohydrates, like lots of potatoes and lots of heavy foods, I want you to instead thinking about eating foods that are a little bit lighter. Instead of waking up and thinking, oh, I'm just gonna alarm back and have a lie-in, I want you to count to 5 and encourage yourself to get up. Incorporating chili into your diet is an amazing way as well to just get everything moving and get everything boosted. There's a few different techniques that you can do to get your body energized, but essentially to get you out of that lethargic state, which tend to be the state that people who have a Kapha Dosha imbalance, they fall into that feeling of low energy, lethargy, maybe sometimes depression. And then again, you see it in your hair care in these different ways that I shared. I hope that this helped. Get the right oils for your hair. Olive oil and sesame oil are really great. Coconut oil if you're experiencing real irritation, inflammation, and that itchiness. If you want more tailored advice, you get in touch. I would love to help you. If you don't feel like you're Kapha Dosha and you're like, doesn't really sound like me, then check out our other videos on general rules of what Ayurveda and hair care is all about, and then also a video on Pitta Dosha or Vata Dosha imbalance, because you might feel that you've got some of these issues, but you also have some others, and they might be touched on those videos. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit subscribe, and I'll see you again in our next video.